Yo, we are live. All right, so now we are live. We good now?
We good.
All right. All right. So welcome to Good If It Goes Jam. I am DJ and I am here with my guy Shane, who's filling in for Mike. Shane, do you want to say something to the people?
Yeah, man, it's hard to fill the footsteps of Mike, but I'm here and I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah, no, I think you got it. It was my birthday yesterday, so shout out to him. He doing his birthday thing, gotta let him cook. So normally, how this show go is, me and Mike we'll talk through different topics through options, and so he used to just randomly ask me this, and then we created this show. So the first question that he asked me is he good? So that's like it'll be somebody had a great week or somebody having a great couple of weeks or somebody is doing something in the media and might be like, man, is that guy good? So that's normally how that topic goes. Then why all the hate? So it's somebody that we got a bias towards or somebody that we not really rocking with. And so it could be on my side or on his side. So man, why do you hate this guy? And then the last one is get him out of here. That's kind of like somebody that's like you just over, you just like, all right, they probably been on them why all the hate a few times, and then now we want them to get gone. And so like those are our three topics, and we kind of go through those three, and we kind of like feed off of each other and see, you know, why certain things are like they are with going on in the sports world. And so, with that being said, I see you wearing the Duke hat, and the guy that we gonna talk about first, he played against y'all the past year, and so before we like bring on the graphic with him, did you see anything from a college perspective that would make you think that this guy would be a great player in the pros?
Yes and no. I mean, look, man, when you're that tall and you have, a perimeter skill set in today's NBA, like you have a chance to be very good. Now, jumping out right away, everybody knows. You look at Chet Holmgren. I mean, the guy's like 110 pounds soaking wet, right? So, and we saw it already in summer league. He was getting bullied by Lofton, a guy that's not going to get any time, that's not going to play any minutes in the NBA. And
Lofton
you
not
just,
making a roster?
I mean, he'll make a roster, but like, he's going to be the last guy on the bench type thing. I mean, maybe he'll stick around for a little bit. I'm not trying to hate on Lofton, but like, this is not a guy, this is not one of the better players that Holmgren's going to be going up against every night. And he bullied him like every time he touched the ball. So that right
Kofi
there,
Coburn did too a little bit.
yeah, man, like that's going to be a problem. So for me, like my thing on Holmgren is there are legitimate positives. There's legitimate reason to think like this guy is going to be a very good offensive player. And then there's legitimate reasons to think that he's going to be a straight up liability on defense. And you even wonder, like offensively, once the league gets some tape on him, are they going to be able to push him off spots? How's he going to react to certain things? Like at Gonzaga, they don't play a pro style offense. So
what do they play normally?
Well, it's just like straight.
Go get a bucket.
A lot. Yeah, like most of their offense basically ran through Timmy, like they're the Gonzaga's big guy, who was easily their best player. So, and the guards take a lot of threes, and the ball, like Timmy's touching the ball basically every possession. So Holmgren didn't even really get that much of a chance to really shine at Gonzaga. So that's why it's like, too, when you watch him in these first two summer league games, and again, I know it's summer league, but you could see that skill set more. Like he was, he's playing in more of a free offense as to where they're going to play to his strengths. Gonzaga, you didn't see that much because so much of the offense was just ran through Timmy. And like I said, man, Holmgren it's a tough one for me to figure out because there's a lot of things to like, and then there's a lot of stuff. Then there's the obvious stuff there's not to like.
Mhm.
So I don't know, man. It's there's a lot of upside, that's for sure. I find it
Yeah,
hard to believe that he could be like a straight bust, but I just don't know exactly what his ceiling is with that frame.
yeah. So, Quan, can you show them the graphic? So, the question of the hour is Chet Holmgren good? Will he
I
be a
say
good
I say
NBA
yes.
player?
Yes, he is
Okay,
good. He's going to be a good NBA player.
okay. Yeah, I'm kind of like on the fence. Like, I just think that he does have a lot of guard skills. He does have a lot of ball skills that you don't necessarily see in a guy that tall. But as you mentioned, there are going to be a lot of times where guys will they're going to go at him, and it's nothing he can do about it. Like he's not going to be so like skilled in the post where he can defend without fouling or defend without like giving up too much. Where those guys are going to go at him, and then also he on a team with two guys that need the ball in their hands. So Shea and Giddy, like they need the ball. Um, because Giddy off the ball, he don't really do too much. Shea can do a little bit more off the ball, but Shea y'all best player, so y'all gonna be able to give him the ball. So I just like really just him being on that team. Um, and also they don't defend as well too because they are a young team. They got guys just over there, and you got Lou Dort that defend. But other than that, like they don't got a bunch of team, like a bunch of guys on that team that play defense. And as we saw with a guy like Rudy Gobert, when it becomes crunch time, and you lacking those wing defenders, your team will get exposed. And we've seen that time after time after time. Like they'll play the Jazz will play great team defense in the regular season, but then in the playoffs, coaches are smarter, players are smarter, and they know how to expose different things. And then you got to account for like injuries too, because that's another thing with a team like the Jazz really like was like dealing with. And I just use him as a comparison of another like 7 foot guy that's supposed to be like a defensive anchor. And it's hard to anchor a defense when your guys on the outside is constantly getting like blue pass. And so offensively, I really don't know what's gonna happen because yeah, like you got those guys that need the ball, and they just gave Lou Dort all that money, so they're gonna need to feed him too.
Yeah,
You don't pay that. You don't
I don't know what the hell that contract was. I mean,
like
what are you doing, Presty? I
like
mean,
3 and D, like keep them on the roster. Like I don't know either as far as like what they was doing, but one of those people might have been your boy Bobby Marks or one of those people they was talking about the okay, so you got to get to their floor, the salary floor, and so that was about them like getting to the salary floor because right now they really only paying Shea and now Dort, and then you got all these rookies and second year players that's not really making nothing. You can't have a team that's like less than a salary, and plus Dort played defense, he played hard, and he's improved. I think he's a 3 and D. I haven't really looked at his like shooting because he really was just like a defensive guy for them, but he has improved offensively. But I think it was because of the salary situation, and they didn't want to lose like one of the only guys on that team that like play defense and play hard all the time. And so I think they got to figure
right.
out how to fit him in offensively. Defensively, it is what it is. Like it's just going to be what we saw. Like it's going to be games where he might have 4 or 5 blocks, but it's also going to be games where guys going to give him 30, 30 and 12. Like I think it's going to be that, and so his frame got to fill out. His
Yeah, I mean,
frame,
he's got
yeah, got to
time,
fill
man.
out.
It's
Yeah,
when you look at like compare this to the NFL. Like in the NFL, if you're a quarterback, right, and you get picked really early in the draft, Nowadays, you're playing a lot sooner than they guys used to, right? So there's pressure on you. You got to produce right away and you're on your rookie deal.
Yeah.
In the NBA, like some of these top draft picks, like with Chet, I mean, they're going to give him time to develop. They know, they know what his weakness is, and they're going to try to have, put on as much muscle as he can. Who knows with that frame? But I
Yeah.
mean, there's no that team's going to be bad again, right? They're going to be picking in the top five
Yeah.
again probably next year. So
Yeah,
there's
for
no real
sure.
pressure on them as far as like a wins loss standpoint. So I mean,
Yeah.
Chet, I to be honest, like, and again, summer league, grain of salt, right? But I'm watching those
Yeah, for
games, man.
sure.
I was impressed with Giddy. I like his game.
Oh,
I think he
yeah.
could. Yeah, I think he can. He can be like that's. They're not close to like winning anything, but it's a
Mhm.
decent little, nice young core they got there with Shea and
Yeah.
Giddy, and if Chet pans
Yeah.
out, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, for
there
sure.
it's
Like,
okay.
yeah, yeah, for sure. Like, Giddy game is pretty cool because he's not really like in a rush. He's not like athletic or nothing at all, but he
Right.
makes
Looks
guys
like the
around
typical
him
goofy
better.
white guy that knows how to play. I mean,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
call it what it is. That's what it is. Goofy looking
yeah,
white
like
guy, but he can play. If you
yeah,
see
yeah,
him,
for sure.
if you see Billy Hoyle, you're not picking him up and playing a game for money, right? But once he gets
Yeah.
on the court, hey, this guy can play a little.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, and then that takes away, like, some of the pressure from Shea to have to facilitate as well as score, and, like, yeah, like, Giddy is, like he's gonna be, like, on those like, that next stage of, like, guys you say is, like, a walking triple-double, like,
Yep.
he can definitely, like, be there, especially because he got size too. He's not, like, small either, so he can crash the boards along with pass, and then he pick his spots with scoring. And so a pass first guy like him will help Chat, but yeah, he does need the ball. And so it will be interesting to see like about their coach and like how they putting guys in spots. But like they play in a small market. And so it's another thing that matters too because it's not that pressure to win. Like they was talking about back on the Jazz, they was talking about Donovan Mitchell and like all these trades, and they was talking about like yeah, like y'all up there losing in Utah, like choking away series, and really they're like, it's still Utah, but you get traded to one of these high profile teams and y'all lose. Like the media are going to be on you, and are you mentally tough to be like to be stable when they on you, like because we have seen it affect guys a lot. And so that's like something that's like to think about too. Like, yeah, you can be on this losing team and y'all in that small market where the fans just happy to go to the games. But if your situation change, then expectations change, fans change, media change. And so like, yeah, Chad gonna have time to grow and to just be over there and like fit in with the culture. So yeah, the jury's still out for me. Like I think he's gonna be okay. Like, but I still gotta see more.
Yeah, it's a great point about the OKC market, right? If you have somebody like him that goes to the Knicks or something, and like
Yeah.
they're off to a slow start, this, that, and the other, then the media,
Hmm.
he's got no pressure in OKC. He's got time to develop. I mean, it's
Hmm.
probably the most ideal place a guy like him could have gone to.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. All right, Quan, if you ready, hit us with the next graphic. Why all the hate? Sports media. That's pretty good. So um So I wanted to get into this because I don't know if y'all saw Ball Sack Sports got ESPN twice this week. Yeah, I want to say twice this week or twice in the past like 7 days, along with
Yeah,
the Shannon and Skip show on like Fox Sports with them like continually running like all of the same type of topics. So my hate is coming from like these guys are like lazy, like they're not even doing their job. Like they wake up, they have these meetings, they're not even checking their sources, and they just on TV just saying whatever, clickbait, and like that whole job interview where people are stitching one thing that he said and then like making it a story, or they just taking what they see or what they saw and pretty much just like making up something. And then Ball Sack Sports got ESPN, I think twice. And so, yeah, I just hate it. Like y'all supposed to be the worldwide leader in sports, and y'all supposed to be, where we go to for like factual info. And so for y'all to get fooled by a Twitter page is crazy. A multi-billion dollar company with endless resources should not ever get fooled by a Twitter page with a couple 100,000 followers, but we have seen it time and time again. And so that's where my hate comes from.
Yeah, it's amazing they didn't even fact check any of that. They didn't check the source, where it came from. They just ran with it because it's content. That's what they want, right? It's content. They just want
Yeah.
stuff to fill. Like me and Mike had this conversation, a few weeks back. Um, we're in the middle of July, right? It's a slow time in the sports world.
Mhm.
We're starting to get towards like training camp is right around the corner for the NFL and college football. Once that comes,
Two
then
weeks.
that's the main topic. But for now,
Mhm.
they've got to find stuff that's going to engage audiences and the whole Morant Jordan thing. It's just like
Yeah, Fox
to
Sports, they
to
got them too.
yeah to not like fact check anything. I mean, this is your job. You're on
Yes,
ESPN, and I don't know
yes.
how you can let something like that slide. Like it's Kendrick Perkins got twice. Like I mean, the guy, it's unbelievable,
Yeah.
and it's I mean,
But I think the
and it's
thing with this that made me mad, like to your point, is that like this had a video attached to it.
yeah.
Where you can go watch it, and they didn't even do that. Like it's your job. Like the video party was like 30 minutes or something like that, maybe an hour. Because I didn't see the whole thing, but this is one of those things where you could have went on some platform wherever you wanted to go to and actually watch the whole thing and saw what he said yourself. It wasn't like a clip, or it wasn't like a we heard from multiple sources or something like that. This was a video that was blasted that you can go click the link and watch, and you got mainstream sports media not doing their job. Like, what is that?
It's unbelievable, man. And they have a whole segment about it. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just like a quick blurb. They had a whole segment on it on something that never even happened. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable. And this wasn't even like one of the stupid debate shows like Undisputed or was First
they
Take. Like
yeah,
this
they
was
got
like
them too
a
though. Yeah,
yeah, like this was um who was it? It was Jacoby and Perkins
yeah, yeah.
and it's just
Jacoby,
like
and then I don't know if Sports Center guy got too, but I mean y'all all under the same like umbrella too. But yeah, First Take, they was wrong. Undisputed, they was wrong. They got caught in it too. And then the thing was that it was multiple days. It was multiple days, multiple segments, and then they had an apology yesterday. And the video like dropped like I think like last week, like the clip dropped like last week, and then they ran multiple days, multiple segments. Like we understand it's a slow sports time because you know a lot of the mainstream media don't cover things like tennis and track, and we got golf, we got baseball is up and going. WNBA just had their All-Star game, so like it's not the main talking pieces. Like you either somebody that stands out in a sport that's played by yourself, like a tennis or a boxing, like those guys will get talked about. UFC, or you basketball, college, NBA, you football, NFL, or
and you
college, and it's
think they
like
would you think they could do better than like this another like LeBron and Jordan thing or another like John Morant and Jordan or even like
yeah,
they had a segment yesterday on I guess Andre Iguodala made some comment about if Rasheed Wallace played in today's game he'd be better than Giannis,
yeah. I saw
which
that,
is
but I
which
didn't
is
know
which
like
is
was
which is
that
absurd.
true?
But I mean, like he
Yeah.
did say it. Yeah, I mean that's an absurd
Okay.
thing to
Okay.
say. But I mean, is it real like that? That's like I said. That's where we are in the sports calendar right now. We have like there's just
Yeah.
nothing else for people to really get into. So you're gonna have or Ray Allen. I guess Ray Allen said. Ray Allen was at some arcade or something, and
Camp or
some
something.
kid,
Yeah,
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 some kid
yeah.
asked him about who's the GOAT. And it was a short
Hmm.
clip, and he said it's not
Yeah,
LeBron because of I think he said free throw shooting and 3-point shooting. Okay, fine, whatever. And then
yeah,
people were running with it, like this is the content now. This like come
yeah.
on, man. Like, does this
I
stuff like really interest you guys that much? This is ESPN. Like, find something else. There are other sports going on. Like, I mean,
yeah,
that's like a corny Twitter. That's like a corny Twitter topic. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
but
Like, that's
like
not the kind of
that's
stuff you want to hear on ESPN.
but that's like social media is so now intertwined that it's it's a thing. I, I don't see like we too far into it where it's not going back. Like Kevin Durant can this one of my favorites, and I'm using favorites loosely. Kevin Durant will respond to somebody. He been talking to people about like their legacies. Next thing you know,
Yes.
that's a topic.
Yeah.
That's a topic on like the next day. And so
Or
like
like
one question that
when
I
yeah. Go ahead.
go ahead.
No, I was gonna say like yeah. Anytime Durant responds to some idiot with like 15 followers that makes some stupid comment, it makes news, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then why is that like why is that news? And so one topic I did see that probably haven't made it there yet, it was like which career would you want to have either Iguodala or Carmelo Anthony? And
Saw
then
that.
so it was like that was like a Twitter thing that I think that you can you can make into like a bigger segment as far as like because it's always that conversations of like rings versus individual success. To me, I that one was like that one was like not as close as more cases that could be made. And so like
That's at
I
least
feel like
more of
that
an
they
interest. That's more of a, I guess, interesting hypothetical, right? I mean, I don't know. It's just
yeah,
like
yeah,
I get tired of the whole the eras crap. Like when we're gonna start
yeah,
comparing Rasheed Wallace to Giannis. I mean, what
yeah, like
for what? Like
yeah,
what are we even talking about?
you just can't. But I guess like you got to look at the context of like whatever they asked him and see like what it was because maybe he did give a good response to the question. But if y'all, but if y'all gonna clip just that one thing and then post it and then make it like the this big like discussion, that's kind of like messed up. And so like I think that like a lot of times like we got that clickbait stuff and we people are already running with like clips and like headlines and they only running with these things to produce content. And so like yeah, like context of everything is important because like you mentioned that Ray Allen clip should not have gotten that much like traction. Like it was
Right.
a 10-minute clip of some kids asking him a question and then he like no like this is what I think. All right, go
Right.
ahead. Like
Right. Like
and
I mean,
so
whatever, whether you agree with it or not. I mean, it's not something that really needs to make news. I don't know. It's just that's how they do it these days, and the debate shows get worse and worse. I cannot watch more than 5 minutes of those because they know it's a
which one do
changing
you like though?
landscape.
Which one do you
Huh?
like though? Like which one do you actually like if any? Or like, what is your favorite one? Any sport, any genre? What's your favorite one? Or the one that you hate the least? Because I know you be hating it all.
I hate them all, but I will watch. I like Jalen Rose.
Okay.
I like
Yeah,
Jalen
yeah.
like from
He's
a like I like there's some new like some podcasts like I like the JJ Redick show.
oh
Um,
yeah, yeah,
I like
yeah. He
the
pretty
show with
good.
Quinn Richardson and D Miles.
Oh, all of
The
uh,
Knuckleheads pod.
knuckleheads. Yeah,
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 yeah. Like
yeah.
I like that. Like I like that kind of stuff. I'm cool with that, like
Okay,
interviews
okay.
and stuff like that. But like as far as like the Skip and Shannon and Stephen A. and I don't even know who's on there now. Oh, that idiot Mad Dog's on there now. You see like those
Yeah.
clips happen all the time. Like that kind of stuff, I just can't stand because it's completely fake garbage. Like Nick Wright's show is terrible. Like I
Oh
was
yeah.
homesick from work. I was homesick from work like a month ago, and
And it made you sicker.
I woke up and you turn the TV on and that's on and it was just like it was him and Broussard just going
Yeah.
on about it was just complete nonsense. So like
Yeah.
as far as like we're talking about like the media in this segment we're doing, I mean, I think
Mhm.
like Draymond, he's onto something, man, about the new
Yeah.
media thing. Like he's really onto
Mhm.
something because
Yeah.
you can have your own platform now. It's not the old days where, these guys just talk shit about you and the only time you can really respond is like in a after a game in a press conference or something. You got your own shit. And it's successful. JJ Redick's podcast, Draymond. I mean, there's
Yeah.
other guys that are going to keep doing it. I think that's the future. I think more and more athletes are going to go that route for A, financial reasons for themselves, and
For
B,
sure.
like Draymond said, man, they're tired of people like Skip Bayless, and they're tired of the way that they've been able to, in a large part, ruin sports conversations, talk
For
shit, and have
sure.
zero repercussions. I mean, I
Mhm.
get it. I get it. And I think Draymond's really onto something when he talks about the new media. I do.
Yeah, yeah, no, I agree because I blocked Skip Bayless like on Twitter. I just got tired of it like coming up on like my feed like of just like sports content because I'm like you clearly trolling. Nobody could never like reply back to you and like just like you clearly like just there to like troll and to like not have real life conversations. And so like yeah, because they show only it's about LeBron, the Cowboys, Brady, and then just flip those topics. And then will LeBron play for the Cowboys? Will he catch passes from Brady? Like that, like they literally only they just recycle like the same topics. And so like yeah, like
Right.
that's like not good. But yeah, but that's pretty good though. All right, Quan, you can we gonna wrap up that segment. You can throw up the last and final graphic. So we got get them out of here, and we got Damian Lillard and Bradley Beal up there, but it's a reason why. So I came up with this one as far as like the grind culture. So I want to get the grind culture up out of here because like once you um cash in those checks and sign that big deal and you committed to that team, like it's a wrap. Like that winning stuff is like that's not what you focused on. It's about like just getting as much money as you can. And I would never tell another man not to get as much money as they can. I just don't want to hear about you talking about it's hard or crying or whining. Like that's the part I don't want to hear about because that's what you signed up for. Now, if you didn't, you would do sign and trade. You would like try to force your way out, like we saying guys trying to do now. But once you sign that deal and you sign that deal with that loser franchise, like just go over there, take your L's. Like even when y'all go on that we lost 7-12 run, don't be over there smacking the cheers and doing all of that because you had a chance to like change your circumstances. And both of those guys got generational wealth, which they had that before their deals. But if you really wanted to win, then you would have left those situations. But catch that bag. But I just want to hear no more like interviews from like none of these guys talking about the grind or being loyal to these franchise and all of that stuff because that stuff really don't matter. Like if because you can get your money from anywhere. If you're a big enough star, you got endorsements. As you mentioned, guys got other ways to like pad their pockets. And so like yeah, and if you like go to another team and you lose money, it'll be a way for you to make that money back up on the back end, or you can do like other things, or you get into like a bigger market, which means you get more endorsements. And so like yeah, I just want to get that grand culture up out of here.
Yeah, man. Like those. I will say this, and first of all, if I'm in both of their shoes, I'd have done the same exact thing.
Yeah, I
That's
can't
not
blame them.
even, I'm not blaming them for nothing. But, in today's market, right? Would it be a surprise if if like, next offseason Beal gets traded? Like you can sign these, it's not like, people
Mhm.
think you sign these deals and that's a wrap. Look at Kevin Durant, right? Like he might
Yeah,
get traded, he might not, who knows? But they both get well, Beal was what, 5 years?
I think so.
Yeah, I think Beal
I
was
think
five. I
so.
know Dame was a 2-year extension.
A 2-year extension on whatever the other.
Right. So I'm not sure what the total amount of years on Dame's is. I'm pretty sure Beal's was a 5-year extension.
Um, 4 years. Like I think his deal not up until 2026, I believe, something like that. So
Right.
yeah,
So
he's pretty much like that. I want to say his deal up 2026. Dames, I think deal Bill, I think it's 5 because another team could offer him 4, but his home team could offer him 5. So
yeah,
Bill, I think is like
that extra
5.
year.
So we'll see him in 2027.
Yeah,
So
look, man. I mean, these
yeah,
both the rosters are garbage. They're not going
yeah,
anywhere. Like
yeah,
Portland, neither one of these teams will even compete for the playoffs. Um, I what can you say? What can you really say? These guys chose the bag. I mean, who are we to say
yeah,
that's a bad decision? You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah,
do find it somewhat funny, and I'm not gonna, really criticize him for this, but when Dame in the past, I don't know if Beal ever has, but I know Dame in the past has talked about guys running from the grind, and he criticized like
mhm,
it was the Clippers during the bubble when he said,
yeah,
you boys, what was it, you boys are chumps or something, right? He had that quote
yeah,
for
yeah,
leaving your teams.
yeah,
Okay, fine, you want to criticize them for that, but some of those guys are taking less money because they want to win. You took the most possible money you can get in a situation where you have no chance of winning, and Dame knows that. It's not like he thinks this roster is going to all of a sudden improve. It's not like they're going to be a big free agent destination. It's not like they're going to swing any big trades. Dame
mhm,
knows, but so it's just on one hand he's kind of criticizing these guys for running, like you said, running from the grind,
yeah,
teaming up and trying to play for like that. But on the other hand, you're doing what you're doing for the money. And again, I'm not criticizing you for that, but
mhm,
it's just I don't really think I don't really think he's right to criticize the other guys for what they do. It's not
yeah,
like
me
I haven't
either.
heard anyone say to him like, "Oh, well, you just went for the money." No other players have said that. You might have guys in the
Yeah,
media say that, fine, but no other
mhm,
players have said that. So I think I'm
yeah,
not going to say he's on a line for it, but I think it's kind of a weak comment on his part to
yeah, it's kinda
criticize them
like that. Yeah, it's like that Carmelo, Anthony thing. Like, he had a chance to get out, New York
and
offered him
come
the
to the
most
bull.
money, the Bulls had that package lined up, and then he saw them extra M's and
40 million. It
yeah,
was, I remember that number. That number stuck in my head because remember that offseason? That was a whole
mhm,
story here. Is Carmelo
mhm,
Anthony going to leave $40 million on the table and come join the Bulls? The Bulls, remember, they were missing a scorer. Like he would have
yeah,
probably fit real well here.
yeah,
And
yeah, and
I'm like, there's just no way this guy's going to leave 40 million on the table. And I don't blame him.
yeah.
And I mean, supposedly it was really close, but
Yeah, yeah, and, like, it was on billboards up by the UC and, like,
I
all of
remember. I
that, and
remember.
but then you got his peers, they was leaving money on the board. So you got Bron and Wade and Bosh leaving money on the board. You got other guys leaving money on the board, like, around him just to go try to, like, win. So, like, people did talk about, not like players, but, like, as you mentioned, like, the media did talk about, like, Melo,
Right.
you took the money and you kind of put yourself in that situation, and it wasn't and New York wasn't going to trade their best player for nothing, and so so yeah, it's kind of like that Carmelo situation
Yeah, what it
where
was it was till like 2015 or 2016 where LeBron was only the highest paid player on his team like for 1 year.
yeah,
Remember
something
that?
like that, yeah,
It was something
yeah,
absurd like that.
yeah,
And
yeah,
like you criticize those Miami guys all you want for the way they did it, but they all took less money. Like that's a
yeah,
fact. They left money on the
yeah,
table. I get it. Ron's a billionaire.
yeah,
Nobody's crying poor, but
yeah,
like those
exactly.
guys all left money on the table. And this was
Hmm.
this was this was 2011 when the
Yeah,
contracts weren't even what they are now. A max
yeah,
deal now
yeah.
is worth way more than it was then.
Hmm.
So, I
Supermax.
guess that was my thing with Dame. I guess I just wasn't really a fan of him kind of calling other players out by name for that when, nobody's calling you out for that. There's like an unwritten rule in sports. Like don't speak on somebody else's money.
Yeah, exactly. Because like for them guys to come together, somebody got to make a sacrifice somewhere.
Right.
And I'm using the term like sacrifice loosely because they millionaires 100 times over, but they are
Money
like
we'll
they
never
might lose
see.
10. Yeah, yeah, they losing like 10 million on this particular deal because they came to the team, but
Yeah.
that's still taking less money to like try and win. And so yeah, just that grind culture. I don't want to hear no more about that. Like that's dead. Go over there and enjoy your play-in tournaments and continue to get your bag because Dame, when it's all said and done, he gonna clips probably 500 M's, and so he gonna
And
get
he's
he gonna get half a yeah he gonna get half a bill in basketball contracts alone, and so like he gonna be perfectly fine. No, we ain't even talk about the endorsements or nothing. Just basketball contracts alone, he gonna get half a bill because before him, I think Kevin Garnett had the most money as far as like basketball contracts
it
up
was
until like a
Garnett, right?
certain yeah, like it was Garnett because he was like the latest last star of like his generation to like continue to get his money. And so like Dame is up there because he gonna get more money than some of his contemporaries because of how they deals with setup or how them trying to go to other teams. And so with him not like necessarily like falling off, like for example, like a Russell Westbrook, like he can pay like what 45, 46, 40,
It was
47 million this.
47 was the opt-in this year.
Okay, so 47 this year, and he not gonna be able to get that again next year. Like who gonna pay him that much next year? Whereas
Right.
Dame, somebody's still gonna pay him for the next 4 years over 40 plus million, and then them last 2 years is 60. And I want to see what the salary cap is going to be because I thought that James Harden Rockets deal that 2 years 100 million was like extension was crazy, but they offered Dame 2 years 121, and so
Yeah, look at
yeah
Chris Paul. Look at Chris Paul's last contract. He got a 4-year deal when he was what, 36
yeah yeah yeah
for
yeah
some insane amount of money. And you know, like
yeah
I wouldn't be surprised if Dame, I mean, if he plays well,
mm-hmm.
if he could be somewhere in that ballpark. Like, yeah, Westbrook's done after this. After this year, he's not going to
Yeah
get anything. Dame, those guys are going to keep getting paid. I'm
yeah yeah
surprised. I'm surprised from Washington's perspective that they didn't try to push Beal out earlier. Like kind of once when Wall, like when the Wall Beal thing was over, when
mm,
Wall got hurt, and then
yeah
I'm surprised they didn't try to like trade. There was a time where, man, the contract would have worked out as to where he could have got traded. They would have got a lot in return. And they just kind of just like, all right, no, just stay here. If you want to stay here, you can stay, and we'll just give you whatever dollar amount you want. I mean, I don't blame him. I'm surprised from a team
yeah.
perspective that they didn't trade him a couple years ago.
I thought so too, but I don't know Washington because you gotta like pick a you have to like pick a direction. That's what I'm trying to say.
All
Yeah,
right. Well, they got
and
the right.
so
They got the 8 seed. They got the 8 seed like what, two
yeah,
years ago when Westbrook was there. And
yeah,
it's like
yeah, and that's not a thing. Like you gotta like tear it down or like you gotta yeah, or you gotta acquire stars to like pretty much get to where you going. You can get like some second tier stars and then you gonna be at like where the Bulls at. But then you gotta get like that guy. If they think Bill is that guy, you gotta get another guy with him. And I don't think Bill is that guy. Like I don't think he's a number one. He's a number one option. He's not a superstar that's gonna like win you a ring. Like he need another guy over there. And so like if you look at teams like Boston, and we talked about like the Heat, like they pretty much went through like, all right, let's tear it down, let's be terrible, and then we gonna draft, and then we gonna get back. Like Boston lost them three Hall of Famers. They was terrible for a while, hit on some draft picks, and now they've been in the Eastern Conference Finals the like 6 years in a row or something, or six out of the last 8 years,
Yeah.
whatever that number is. Same thing with like Miami. They lost three Hall of Famers, ended up getting two lottery picks, traded for somebody or sign somebody, and then now they've been competitive over the past like 4 years. So yeah, you gotta like draft well. That's like the common like theme in all of this, but you got to pick a direction because unless you got that top level guy, man, like being in the middle is not gonna work. Like being just like that, like being just like okay, not gonna work. Like I don't know if the ownership team in Washington wanted to like shut it all down and like just start over, or they was like, well, we still need to trade, we still need to like sell tickets and whatever. But I don't really know what's the direction of their team. They kind of just got like another play-in looking team
I mean,
for the
the way
foreseeable future.
OKC did it was to me is the way you're supposed to do it in the NBA. Like once KD left, and then okay, we're gonna try with Westbrook. We're gonna try to build a little something.
Hmm.
So they had Paul George, Carmelo. Once the Paul
Yeah,
George trade happened, then it's like, okay, well, what are we gonna do now? Are we gonna play hard with Westbrook putting up stupid numbers every night and maybe getting us the
hmm,
7 seed, or are we just gonna
hmm,
gut this thing, completely start over, sell every asset we have, and try and build through the draft? And you're better off in the lottery than you are fighting for the playing game. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like that's NBA. You're 7 seed, 8 seed. That's NBA hell. You're not good enough
hmm,
to. This isn't like the NFL where it's a one game playoff scenario where you want to fight like
hmm,
hell to make the playoffs because anything can
yeah,
happen in one game scenarios. These are best of 7 series. The better team is going to win more often than not. So if you're fighting to get that 7, 8 seed, just get your ass kicked by a Golden State or something, or even a
yeah,
Memphis, like
yeah,
what are we doing? So I
for
don't
sure.
know. Like I don't know what Washington and Portland's, like you said, what is their vision? Sell
I
tickets.
don't know.
They're not
Yeah,
trying to
maybe.
win. I mean,
Yeah,
best
maybe
case
so.
scenario, best case scenario for Portland is is the playing game. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's their best
both
case
of them
scenario.
really.
Yeah, I
Washington
think
too.
Washington was
Like
like they were like the 12 seed or something last year. I mean, I was looking at Washington's roster a few minutes ago. There's some
pieces there.
respectable.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's some respectable young talent.
yeah,
They picked up Porzingis. It's
yeah.
okay,
Hmm.
but
Yeah, Kuzma's still
okay.
there, and they just traded KCP. Like, yeah, they got like you said, like a little like pieces, but like because when was the last time we saw an upset in the NBA, like a 7 game like upset where that team made it past like the first round? Because even some of the biggest upsets in NBA history in the playoffs, that team didn't like make it past the first round. Like,
Right. No, I
and
think
so you got to go back to what like the '90s, like that Hakeem
yeah, even
team.
that even
They,
that even that
they
that Golden State team that beat Dallas and what was it, 2007? Remember, they were the 8, they beat
yeah,
the 1. That was
yeah,
one of the most that'll
yeah,
be one of the most memorable playoff series in my life. That was just
yeah,
wildly entertaining. And,
for sure.
they lost the next round to Utah. Utah kicked the shit out of them. That was Boozer and
Yeah,
Deron Williams, Karolinko, those
yeah,
guys. Yeah, they,
yeah, for
like
sure.
that's you're right. If a first round upset happens, that team's probably going to get bounced in the next round by one of the other top teams. So
That's why,
yeah, like I
like
just
you, yeah, yeah. As you mentioned, like it's not football. Like football, you can be there because they quarterback go down or something random happen or they just beat you on that Sunday or Saturday night or whatever, then a team can get hot. The Giants won 2 Super Bowls off of just getting hot. Baltimore Ravens, Joe Flacco got hot. Like that wasn't like the
exactly,
best
man. Like
the best
it's
team. And so like yeah, like it's tough. Like you just getting in the
San
playoffs.
Francisco came to Green Bay in January. They did not score an offensive touchdown. They did not score an
Yeah,
offensive touchdown, and they won. Like it's one
yeah,
game scenarios, fluky shit
yeah,
happens, right? This
for
isn't like
sure,
the
for
NBA. It's
sure,
just different when it's a 7 games. You have to beat a team 4 times. You know what I mean?
for
It's
sure.
a goofy. It's NFL fight like hell to get a top, well,
To
now
get
top
in.
7 seed. Get a ticket to
Yeah,
the dance. That's what I would say. I don't care what seed you
yeah,
are. I don't care where. Get a ticket to the dance. You got a shot. And the NBA, like
yeah.
making the playoffs, is an accomplishment.
No, you gotta like make it to the you gotta win a couple of rounds, and then you still need a guy that's gonna push you over. Like, because
Right.
I was watching something earlier, they was talking about like Luca and the Mavs, and they gonna be a team that's like they just made the Western Conference Finals, right? But like it's gonna be tough because they still need another guy. Like it took Dirk like 12 plus years to get
Yeah.
to the point where he was all within his powers, and I still don't know how they won. Like I like to this day, I don't know how they won. But people saw that and was like, yeah, anybody can do it. Like, but no, like that's a one off. Like we still haven't seen nobody like do that yet. Like do that again, where they one Hall of Fame would be 3 Hall of Famers in a 7 game series to win a championship. When
And
like
not even
we
just
haven't
that.
seen that again.
And not even just that. Like everybody, when we talk about that Dallas team, right? It's everybody just says how that's LeBron's biggest blemish of his career, which is accurate. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And that team, that Heat team, their first choke. But if you actually go look through that playoff run, Dallas swept Kobe's Lakers,
Oh
and they
yeah.
beat young Durant, Westbrook, and Harden.
Yeah.
Like that was a
Yeah.
really impressive playoff run. And like you said, I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah.
we haven't
Yeah.
seen anything like that since.
For sure. And then even like prior to that, like I can't think of a one man show like that. But they had a complete team. But when you look at that team, it was like, who else was you game planning for every game? You was like, hey, we got to stop Dirk. Let them other dudes do whatever they gonna do. Like they
Man,
didn't have
it
another
worked.
scorer. They
Yeah, it worked out because they had 3-point snipers around Dirk, right? You had
Mhm.
Stojakovic, even a guy like fucking Deshaun Stevenson. Like he played a big
Yeah.
role. He was hitting 3 after 3. Remember running around doing this shit, and he was like that team and Jason Kidd, Jason Terry.
Yeah.
Like you just man,
Yeah.
you had the right pieces around Dirk, but like you said, man, that kind of thing is just not happening anymore. That's not
Mhm.
happening anymore.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I
No,
don't know.
I definitely
To
agree.
to the original question, I mean, Dame and Beal, dinner's on you guys whenever I'm sure you're on the road with your team this year, but you ain't winning many games.
Yep, true. And with that, we're gonna wrap up the show. Thank y'all for joining us. Good if it goes jam. I'm DJ. He's Shane filling in for
Sir.
Mike, and that is a wrap.